can we sustain it? I do have the PS from the office of the President, Haji Yunus Kakande. Haji, thank you so much for sparing time. Protecting the gains is our topic for tonight. When President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was launching his campaigns, the NRM Secretariat did tell us that this time around, this coming Chisanja, we are protecting the gains. What are we supposed to protect, and what are we protecting?
Thank you very much. First of all, before you answer the question, I want first of all to thank the management here for keeping this place running. Because at one time, around 1998, 99, up to 2004, it was under office of the president. And I was directly supervising this place. I didn't leave that lift there, but today
You've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed the lift.
Thank you.
And the studios themselves. So I want to thank you for keeping this place running. You know, you got Radio Uganda, or UBC, what you call UBC now, has a local history of starting around 1954 as the first broadcast in this country. And it was only during the liberalization, which was brought by President Museveni, which liberalized all the other stations, and the other radios have come on board, like 300, and almost like, I think, 49 television. So that one, I thank you so much. But to go to your question, what are we protecting? Of course, you know, the first thing, there's an enabler called security. Security in this country experienced almost 25 years after independence. And there was no security in this country called Uganda after independence. Everybody was running for security, but nobody could provide it. People were running up and down, others going to exile. People were being killed left and right. People were imprisoned in prisons without, there was a law here was called detention order of 1967, which was signed by Dr. Prominito Obote. And the same order continued during Obote II. This time it was the Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable Rolizalu Chirunda, who was responsible for that detention. And many of the people suffered, languished in prisons around Uganda over that detention order. So when Museveni now came in '86, I think all those detention orders stopped. There is the rule of law. There is freedom of speech. And above all, after security, there is liberalization of our economy. Our economy in 1987 was liberalized. That's why you find that foreign direct investment is increasing in this country because of liberalization. If a businessman has done some profits here and there, he's free to transfer his profits to his country of origin. There are no restrictions as we used to have before. Before, we used to have restrictions for someone who has invested in this country and he wants to take his profits. We had restrictions. There was an amount which you are restricted to take out. But now all these companies which are here, they have provided jobs for our people, and they're free to reinvest here or to repatriate their money. So to me, that liberalization which was created by General Museveni since 1987 to date has made a number of tremendous strides in our economy. As you know, our economy now is at 65, 68 GDP. And we are looking only for 15 years. We are saying that within 15 years, right from now, 2040, we must be at 500 GDP. And we think at that time, the country, it will be, at least would have moved towards the takeover stage. Now we are at the law stage. But at that time, we're thinking now that now we can talk of Uganda having taken it off a takeover stage. There is an economist called, I think, Professor Manning Nash. He talked what is a country which has taken off. The country which has taken off, there is a lot of employment. The budgets can be balanced. In other words, you get less imports and get too much exports for your country, implying that the foreign inflows are the majority compared to the imports. So that is the country in brief which has taken off. And I would think that by that time, we are now at a low stage of takeoff, but by that time, we shall be a modern country. Take it 15 years from now.
Haji, before we go deep into our economical status, you did talk about peace and stability. Talking about the professionalism of our security forces, the regional peacekeeping and diplomacy, how best can we maintain peace without shrinking the civic freedom?
No, I think the president has tried all his best to make sure that he professionalizes the army. He has established a number of training institutions. Take Chimaka is one of them in Jinja. That one is put there in order to professionalize the army, to make sure that the army officers get adequate training. Now, as you are leaving, before you reach Jinja, before you reach Njeru, as you are coming from Kangurumira, there is another new school which has been set up there. That one still is to impart soldiers on how they can take on strategic studies and other studies in the military, which make them build that military-civil relationship. You know, it's very important everywhere in the world, the military. So the trainings which have been placed, there is one in Kaweweta. Kaweweta, when you reach Katugo, then you take inside, you go about 18 miles inside towards Ngoma. Then there's another training there. Of course, there's a training in Singo. There is that one, the known one, the historical one, which is Kavamba. So really, the military has been exposed to a number of trainings. The military has been retooled in terms of intelligence. They can get any information. They can deal with cyber military problems. So that's what I think, that the military has the capacity now, not only inside here, but they have the capacity to keep. That's why we found our forces are in Congo, trying to put peace in Congo. They have been in Somalia. If they were not in Somalia, I think Somalia now would not be there, because Al-Qaeda had already taken the center stage in Somalia. But not only that, they were in Liberia at one time. They were there, still keeping. There was a problem in Liberia. Remember those days when the country had gone to almost nothing. So our forces went there. I think by then they were being commanded by General Katumba Wamala and later on Koreta, and they did a very good job.
Major, before, PS, before I bring in Major Martha Asimwe, still on peace and stability, you've talked about the institutions that have been put in place by government to professionalize the system of the forces, but we've seen some acts. We've covered stories here and there. We still have people who are not yet happy with how, somehow, somewhere, the forces act when they are prosecuting or when they are doing their work. We are covering elections. You see these things on media.
Okay. I think that one,
also the opposition to be clear.
That one also, there is indiscipline on part of our civilian population. If the police, they are telling you that take this route, it's safe for you, and for you, you insist that I want to take this route. They tell you, no, that route, is a business area. You are going to disrupt people. Take this route and go to the ground. But we have seen more than often our people, our friends in opposition, they want to address their rallies inside the middle of the shops. You have seen it on the roads. More than often, actually. It's very difficult to find them addressing rallies in a big playground. They're always in shops, in the streets. That's what now police tell that. Don't disturb these people. So that's why I'm saying that there is indiscipline with our people, especially in opposition, the young people. They think that when you confront police, you can achieve what you want. That is the problem. And that is something also which must work on the mindset of our children. The mindset of our children also has gone very far in deteriorating for a number of reasons which are known. For a number of reasons, because they have benchmarked Western culture, which at times which is not good for our people here, like smoking marijuana. By the time some of us grew, marijuana was in the 70s and the early 80s. Marijuana was not something you could easily find in a place. But I hear now in schools, everywhere, the gays, you call them gays, those one you could not hear in our secondary schools. But now it's the order of the day. So the way also this culture of Western, which have infiltrated our people, has brought problems. So much, because I hear that the Europeans who are even ready to sponsor some of these immoralities to continue here. They come with certain organization. In the process, there's clandestine skill our boys and girls do that.
Okay.
And that's why the president actually, you remember in Parliament when they passed that anti-gay bill, and of course there was a lot of help from the West. But the president insists that no, for you that is your culture, but for us that's not our culture. So the people wanted to impose us their own culture on us, and the president could not accept that you impose your culture, because for them maybe a man moving with a fellow man is not a problem. But for us here,
it is not the way to go.
Even the mere fact that you go and enter a woman's wife and enter his wife to be married by a woman, it's a taboo in Uganda and in Africa generally. They look at you as not a man.
We are live on all our different radio platforms. For those who are watching us live on TV, we are live on YouTube, we are live on X, but also our different radio platforms. Major, let me cue you in. The PSD talk about some bit of that economic transformation, the economic development, what we have achieved so far. Talking about infrastructure, we do have roads, electricity, ICT, oil. We do have social services where we have education, health sector, we have water, we have wealth creation programs, PDM, Myoga, and others, private sector growth and regional trade. Major, this is your area where you understand better where we have come so far, where we are going, protecting the gains, what is there to celebrate, and why should we, when Ugandans are saying there needs to be change?
Thank you so much, Defero. I also want to add my voice on what the PS has talked about. All of us, we believe that peace, security, and stability is the bedrock of what he's talking about. And all those programs, their bedrock is peace, security, and stability. There is nobody who can want to invest in a country which is not stable. There is no person, no investor whatsoever who cannot predict the predictability of the political situation. And therefore, we have first and foremost to protect the peace, the stability, and security like a glass. It's like living in a glass house. You would guard all people who throw stones to ensure that your house remains intact. And this is our country, Uganda. The PS has already alluded to what we have so far done. When you look at the infrastructure, I think UBC is one of the gains with the modern technology that is here. Of necessity, we must also protect, because if you don't have communication, then there is no way you can link up with the communities. You can communicate either directly using TV, like now we are communicating to the population. You can also use radios, and therefore if you don't protect what you have achieved, then you'll have nothing to protect, and therefore we shall go back to number 0. He has also alluded to the situation how it were in the past. But as we talk now, when you go to Mulago Hospital under the health sector, Mulago is like maybe Aga Khan Hospital, maybe better than Aga Khan, because when you move in those wards, first of all, they are very clean. Number 2, there are services being rendered there across the board, and whoever goes to Mulago comes out convinced that indeed it is a national referral hospital. In Kampala here, we have Kirudu. We have Kirudu where patients are referred and they are treated. We also have Kawempe where patients are referred and they are being treated. I know the viewers may begin saying maybe the drugs are not enough.
True.
I want to assure you that there has never been anything that is enough. But going forward, there is something we can base on, and the services continue. Even you going to this facility and getting someone to prescribe your illness, that one is really something to be proud about. We are talking about education. And education, I remember when I was growing up, and my old mother even calls today Mountains of the Moon Fort Portal Makerere of Kabarole. What does this one mean? It means that under that liberalization, first of all, the government universities have increased, the private sector-led universities have also improved. There is IU, there is KIU, and name them. There are very many universities because of the good policies. Our government has brought conducive policies, conducive environment where investors, like the PS talked about, can invest in their money. But originally, for you, you are very young, but to the old, those who had invested in Uganda, where there was no peace, no security and stability, what happened? It is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni now paying back because of those bad regimes of what they did. We are actually addressing those fundamental errors that they committed and injured our economy. When you go to Mbarara, there is a regional referral hospital. You don't need to drive and drive a patient from Mbarara to bring him to Mulago National Referral Hospital. You go to Kabale, we have district health services. We have doctors at every level. And at every level, we have cascaded health services. We have health center 3s, we have health center 4s, and at these health center 4s at a constituency level, we have a doctor who can do minor operations so that we keep our people even safe and secure.
Major,
what is more fundamental, Jethro?
Yes, please.
When you look at the youth today, these are the offsprings of good policies, because they were immunized, they were born healthy, and they no longer suffer from the original killer diseases.
Major, talking about the progress that we've achieved so far, progress must be protected from corruption, inefficiency and exclusion. What are you doing to ensure that all this is fought? Because development must be felt, it shouldn't be just be reported.
True. You remember, Jethro, there is, we have decentralization. I'll begin from that level. Under decentralization, at the district level, we have what we call Public Accounts Committee. Public Accounts Committee deals literally with corruption. We have also cascaded institutions up to those other lower levels. We have Inspectorate of Government. Even in the office of where my boss, the PS, sits, we also have an institution which deals with anti-corruption. And actually, even in my department, there is a component to deal with anti-corruption. And therefore, there is a lot that has been done, and all this is geared towards protecting what we have so far achieved for posterity.
Okay, before we go for the break, I do have some comments here. This is Opolot Ignatius from Chitende in Tebe. Protecting the gains means recognizing that peace, development and democracy are hard-won and must be deliberately safeguarded. Uganda's stability has provided a foundation for progress, but sustaining it requires a responsible leadership, active citizenship, respect for the rule of law, and inclusive dialogue. P.S. There is a point there, respect for the rule of law. You did talk about it, and inclusive dialogue. When institutions are strengthened, rights are protected, and citizens participate constructively, the democratic journey moves forward, and the gains of peace and development are preserved for future generations. Okay. This is Namaisi Siraji from Mumbale. Under protecting the gains, democracy is not totally achieved, and there is peace on the country, but back to people, there is no any peace. In conclusion, protecting the gain is equally consolidating to power. This is Siraje Namaisi, or Namisi, yes, from Mumbale. Okay. Hello Jethro, I am Moses Nalukesi from Jinja City. I personally love the president and his programs, but people behind them are so corrupt. Major, you've talked about corruption. Only a few people are benefiting from there. There is a lot of substandard work nowadays. Are they aware of that? Thanks. Last one before we go for the break. This is Geoffrey watching from Luzira Bina. As we protect the gains, my questions to the PSR. You highlighted several military training institutions. How do we measure whether these institutions are improving professionalism on the ground? That is one. Two, you acknowledged concerns that civil freedoms may already be shrinking. How do we strengthen security without sacrificing democratic space? You urge that balancing the budget depends on reducing imports and increasing exports. Which sectors are realistically positioned to drive these exports in the next 15 years? Ladies and gentlemen, keep your questions and comments coming in. We go for the break. When we return, the PS and the Major will be back to answer your questions. Don't go away.
This is the Front Bench.
I don't settle for the surface. I go deeper. At UBC News Tonight, we unpack the story behind the story. We don't chase for views. We pursue facts. The election, the economy, the promises made, and those kept. We ask, we check, we verify. Because the truth should never be a mystery.
This December, all eyes in Morocco. Africa assemble. All dreams are heading one way.
All passion, all fire.
Because here, we play different.
Choose your side.
Time to wake up. Show your colors.
Bring your flag.
And we welcome you to Morocco.
You guys ready?
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvesters in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda. Gaga your way to Morocco with Uganda Cranes and MTN. Simply buy a Gaga bundle by dialing *100 *0# and stand a chance to win a fully paid trip to Morocco. Gaga your way to Morocco with Uganda Cranes and MTN. Together, our fire is unstoppable. Fire! MTN. Terms and conditions apply. MTN Uganda is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
These elections matter, and so does how you hear about them. That's why I'm here every night on UBC News Tonight to give you the whole picture and not just the headlines. We report with context, with care, and with commitment, because you deserve the truth. Calmly delivered, clearly explained.
This is the Front Bench.
This is the front bench. I need to remind you that we are live on all our different radio platforms. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. Feel free to be part of the conversation. Protecting the gains is our topic. PS, before we went for the break, we did have some questions which I want you to first answer. Someone asked about, say there is no peace. Someone talked about the institutions that we have that you mentioned, where they train soldiers, officers from.
Okay. Thank you, Jethro. The good thing, what I'm speaking, I'm not speaking from books I have read about this country. Because I started being active in this country in 1966. When you talk about the skirmishes of 1966, I was 7 years old. So I was seeing everything. And I've seen all the governments from 1966, even on maybe the government of independence, which was formed by Dr. Promini Poronoberi, the one which I have not seen well. But from 66 up to now, I've seen all the governments. So I know what we mean by rule of law. Rule of law, if you see today, you look at the bench, Jethro. How many judges do we have there?
Very many. Very
many. I think now they're about 100. But the maximum should be 150, and they are moving towards that. Every region has a resident judge. The magistrates, there are very many.
But we still have case backlogs, PS.
That one, yes, it's true that we still have case backlogs. That's what the judiciary, Court of Judicature is trying to find a solution for it. Let them get more judges. Let them even use this technology, digital, and see how they can dispose of these judges, their cases very fast. And when you look at it, at the judiciary today, the backlog which you had about 5 years is not the same as we have today. They have really decreased so much because of the increment of the judges and the magistrate areas which are existing in this country. So that one, the issue of rule of law, no one should lie that President Museveni has been the first president in this country to observe the rule of law. People can go to court. Opposition have been arrested and taken to court. Appearing before court, that's rule of law. That alone is the rule of law. If a policeman misbehaves, he's arrested. If a man misbehaves, there is a lieutenant colonel who was involved in robbery around Kasanda. He was arrested. So, who is above the law in this country? Above the law in this country?
But the president is working hard to ensure that bond is not given to certain.
Okay, he's trying that because he has been at times frustrated because of the crime.
But is that rule of law now?
And it's true, and people are abusing him that he's doing that. But at the same time, saying that if somebody has stolen billions and billions of money, why do you give him a bail there and then? Let him be punished. But again, they are the same people who say that the president does not fight corruption. Now, what do you see that dichotomy which is there?
I think this is where PS people are getting confused. Maybe you throw more light.
Yes.
Talking about protecting the democratic journey, that issue of strengthening institutions. We do have the electoral commission, for example, we're in the election period.
Exactly.
We do have courts, parliament, local governments. But at one point, people see that the president somehow, somewhere, steps in,
you know,
making these institutions vulnerable.
Let me tell you one thing. The president is the fountain of the honor.
True.
And President Museveni, being a president of one of these less developed countries, more than often, he has to put in his muscle to make sure that things must move. Otherwise, if he keeps quiet and behave like a Trump of America, where institutions have been built for almost 200 years, when our institutions are just counting only 50 years, you can't. He has to come in and make sure that things move.
Does that mean lawyers or judges are not doing enough, the officers in local government?
Of course, the officers may not be
the MPs in parliament
may be doing enough, but at least you need the leader to come and guide. Actually, it's giving guidance to that matter. It's giving guidance that, by the way, why don't you do it like this? That's why people are blaming him that he doesn't want, the president does not want bail, because he sees that actually, as categorized, people who have murdered, people who have stolen huge sums of money, people who have raped. Those ones should not be given bail immediately. But of course, the judges and magistrates are still refusing. You have seen it. They're still insisting that.
Someone talked about peace, that there is no peace.
But
this is someone from Umbale.
That's what I've told you, that I have seen it all. I've seen it all. I have seen the 25 years that elapses from 1962 to 1986 when Museveni came to power. If someone said that there was no peace, then I cannot understand him. Now, the whole northern region, it took time, Uganda, the NRM government, to pacify it. It took time, almost 20 years. Kony was fighting there. At one time, there were so many rebel groups here. There was the Force Back Obote, Otai had one in Soroti. There was those groups of Jesus. There was the Rwenzuru group. So many. But still, the government of NRM tried its level best and neutralized all these groups. So, can't you say that that is not establishing peace in this country? By doing that, even by now moving out of Uganda and go to Somalia and go to Congo, that means that the country has been pacified and there is peace. Have you had anybody invading this country? Don't think that people don't want to invade, but they fear. They fear to invade because they know that Uganda is very strong. And building a stronger army, this is part of the problem in Africa. We don't want to build stronger armies. And that is the busy thing. That's why you find sometimes that you have even coups. Because some of these army people whom you see, like the one you saw in Burkina, was it Benin?
Benin, yes, Benin.
A young boy of about 24 years, working in the studios like here, and they are now seeing a coup.
Yeah.
Now, if a soldier has been trained and he knows that he's supposed to be subservient to the public, to the general public, how can you, is that the solution?
What concrete steps appears is government taking to ensure that these institutions we are talking about remain professional, impartial, and trusted during the democratic process?
I want to assure that, first of all, this institution is Museveni who has just built them. So they have not been in existence for 100 years. So I think all is being done to make sure that they are improved and they are strengthened. You can see that direction which is coming. I've told you that they are young, they are not old institutions, but again, the president who started them is trying his level best to build them. And the entire government is trying. You see, there is separation of power. Maybe that's what you want to get through. Parliament is alone. The judiciary is alone.
Actually independent, not even alone.
Independent. The executive is alone. Have you seen any judge or magistrate who has been taken to prison for deciding a case not in favor of someone whom the government won? They do it. And the poor man complains.
What happens after?
The other day there was a judge who made a case that, and you know very well, just so that during war, there is no payment. But the other day judge said that people in those areas where there was war should be paid. But did the president complain? Another one, do have complaint? Maybe you have complaint because even insurance does not operate in areas of war.
Major, the manifesto highlights citizen participation and ownership of development. What role should citizens play to ensure that they do protect the peace that we do have while exercising their democratic rights?
Thank you, Jethro. I think our viewers must also understand that peace is not absence of crime. Maybe someone who is talking about that there is no peace, he could be talking about maybe crimes. And we have institutions which handle crime right from, I think, the sub-county. We have intelligence right from the village level. We also have the community itself, by the way, Jethro. The community itself is so paramount in terms of, one, ensuring that there is peace, maintaining that peace, because if there is no peace, they will not sleep. And therefore, it takes two people to tango. The community and all the agencies which are supposed to handle at a strategic level peace, we must all work together. And just what I want to tell you, that right from the district, I had a department called RDC Secretariat.
Okay.
And under the National Councils, under the 2000 National Security Council Act, there are district security committees. There are also regional security committees. That one is handled at a slightly higher level than the district. But the representatives of the presidents, as part of their mandate, coordinate the security actors to ensure that there is peace, security, and stability. Then the people themselves, them being the actors, you know, we cannot have peace and you only say that it is only the actors who bring peace. It must be both of us who are supposed to maintain. Okay, we may create, but who maintains? So the onus and actually the mandate encompasses on us, even by the Constitution, that we, having a secure environment, we must, both of us, make sure that we protect the peace, security, and stability. And you were talking about that there is no rule of law. Jethro, I don't see where you find a resident judge, like 2 judges at every region where there is a court. And having also constructed this infrastructure of courts where they sit and prevail over these cases, then we also have the chief magistrate, we have magistrate grade 1, we have the resident state attorney, then we have also police, and police we have CID, we have crime intelligence, and all these together, they are all charged with ensuring that there is stability and the rule of law is maintained. We have also talked about corruption. Jethro, even in the days of Jesus Christ, you remember in the church what happened? I don't know how many ages are those. And therefore, yes, corruption is a mindset issue. It is an ethical issue. It is an ethical issue, and both of us, both government and civil society organizations, together with government, must join hands to ensure that we fight this vice. And also the parents and the communities. I think we should also join together, including the cultural and religious leaders. Both of us, we have a role to play if we have to fight that vice. But as far as the National Resistance Movement government is concerned, institutions are almost everywhere. Under decentralization, we have ethics and integrity forums.
Every district.
Every district. And their chairpersons, and the members are known, and all the actors are also all these members. But all this is geared towards fighting corruption. But like I said, whether you have 1,000, if you don't change the mind of this individual. I'll give you an example. If I went to the village and I'm not driving a Prado, do you know what people will talk about? They'll begin saying, you look at the daughter of X. She has been in government, but you can imagine now she comes with either tuku-tuku, or she comes in a taxi, or she boards a bus. So what does this one mean? it means that we must change also the mindset of the communities themselves. Because at times it's the community, it's the families, it's the friends, it's the peer groups, which even push some of these people. And they are saying we are not biting. Jethro, who tells you that we are not biting? If we are not biting, let them go and ask Kazinda in Rosera. And those who are saying that there is no peace, I want them to visit the neighborhood. For diplomatic reasons, we are not supposed to talk about these things. But we have been in meetings cross-border meetings with these colleagues. But if they want to get the truth of what peace like this, the gentleman of Mbale, if he wants to test, I think I can lead him somewhere, and then he tests whether there is peace or there is no peace around there.
Thank you, Major. The questions coming in. This is Trevor Murungi from Luuka.
Trevor?
Yes. He says, up to today, I'm wondering on which gains those people are talking about. Yet they have elapsed everything. We have studied nothing. So which gains even me I would like to enjoy on those gains if I got a chance, because I love my country, but situations made us negative on it for God and my country. This is Trevor.
Okay. Can I answer him?
Please.
Let me start to the simple thing which Trevor will get to understand. When you board a bus and take on Ginger Road, there was a small old-fashioned bridge. But to branch the new bridge, I think Trevor has seen that bridge. That big bridge on Nile which crosses. Is that not a gain? Is that not a gain?
Maybe to him it's not a gain.
How? Connecting the entire eastern region of this country to this.
Maybe people are talking about how they benefit from something.
But if he's a businessman or somebody who does business, if you don't know business, he doesn't see the goods which are coming from that side to this side, or which are going to that side. That's already a benefit. Now, secondary schools, ask him if he's in Ruuka. How many counties in Ruuka which are lacking secondary schools? You'll find that Ruuka, at least, I know there are about 11 or 15 sub-counties, but you find that only about 5 sub-counties which are schools. But again, parish, they have all primary schools. And decided to call that one gains. I think he has a problem there.
P.S. While Ugandans appreciate the gains that have so been achieved by the government tracing from 1986, I think the strategy needs to be revised to make account for every term entrusted to the president and its government, giving blanket accountability over time with no critical assessment of gains in different parts that make a country will take Uganda decades to become first-class country. This is Okodel from Serere.
Let me tell him, every year we have a department in office of the president. It's called Manifesto Implementation Unit. Every month of May, they sit down and assess how far has been achieved from year 1. Then they go to year 2. Then they go to year 3. And then year 4. That's when they measure what the government has achieved. This 84 which I was talking about in terms of what the manifesto was saying, what so far we have achieved, it's not something which is guessed. It's not guesswork. It's something which is with empirical evidence. It is with empirical evidence. So what he does, he says that we just guess and say that this is this. Now, for example, if I tell you that in Uganda now, the highest commodity which is fetching Uganda's foreign exchange or foreign inflows is gold. It's now at 18.6 trillion today. Coffee is at 8.2, I think 5 trillion today. Now, is that a guess? By the time Museveni took over power, Uganda was exporting a mere 2 million bags. Now we are exporting 8.2 million bags. And we have gone back to where we are. We are the first country in Africa in growing coffee. Ethiopia is second. Is that not a gain? So my brother, I think from Serere has other issues.
Okay, let me sample more 2 or 3 at a go. Maybe we shall pick from those. This is Kamba. Protecting gains is fantastic, but elimination of pains too.
Elimination of what?
Of pains. Too, wananchi should be mainstream. I think there is pain in wananchi. That is what he or she is meaning. So it should be. Why wasn't the slogan of protecting gains available in the previous years? This is a political slogan to counterattack opposition, yet corruption has been on peak and it is still. This is Teacher Ronald from Bududa. Okay, hello members of Front Bench. How long does it take to protect the gain? Does the gain mean to appoint you to yours or to lead the army? Okay. I want to challenge the PS on his submission about the rule of law. Upholding and observing the rule of law doesn't mean the number of judges or judicial, but rather upholding the independence of the judiciary. I think I did talk about this as well. Yes.
I've talked about the independence of the judiciary.
You did. President sometimes gives guidance, but people interpret it as a directive.
Exactly.
And is also entitled to his opinion on some issues regarding governance, however much it's the role of the policy makers. In terms of security, UPDF, UPF and prison services are 100%. But how can government protect the gain of security personnel in terms of welfare, salary enhancement for better future?
That one, Mr. Kachaji, you know very well that the president started with generals in terms of their welfares. He started with generals, increasing their salaries.
Is the process slow, maybe?
And it's going down. I think now they have started from captain to the other ranks. This financial coming, this one coming, they are going to look at those people. So there is a lot of improvement in welfare of the army. I've told salaries are going to be, have been improved and are going to be improved. And you know, as you know, there are some army shops which have been established in some barracks. The feeding of the army is going on. So what welfare are they talking about which is not existing in the army? The army is being dressed. You find these officers very much, and men and women, very much well dressed.
Yes, there is doing all that, but the pocket matters also.
The pocket, once I give you a good salary, because now, actually now, private I think has been getting something like a 0.5. Is that bad money? 0.5 mitwara tano.
But with our economic situation,
but again, it's going to increase it. It is supposed to go to 1 million. Is that bad money?
1 million is not really bad, but 500.
So Rome was not built in one day. Rome was not built in one day. This economy where it has been a problem. Now, when you go to the side of the civil service, you have seen how these people who are commissioners, they have got their salaries increased. All commissioners in government, their salaries have been increased. And some of them are saying that now, even if I retire, I'll get a meaningful pension.
Yes, there are things you've always been talking about overtime,
yes.
But Ugandans are not seeing change in of these things. Today, even the opposition, when you hear some of, when they are talking to people on their rallies, they say, okay, police officers, we're going to increase your salary. You teachers, we're going to work on your situations. And these are things the president has also been talking about.
But these things have, like increasing salaries, those have been there. They are there. They're reality. They're reality. But what I want to tell you, that the wananchi, for example, the president, by starting this program of PDM, what was his intention? His intention was to make sure that those people who are in the rural areas, who are so badly off affected by poverty, they also have something which can help them and they be trapped in the money economy. And this one is working well. So far, I think 3 trillion shillings have been given to this to Ugandans. And he has promised that come next term of management, he's going to increase it.
Okay, Major, let's talk about sustainability. You talk about some of the things we do have in place. You talked about hospitals, schools, and very many other establishments, roads and everything. But sustainability, remember, it's not all about talking about what we've achieved, but how do we sustain them? That is a question. Value for money in public investments, maintenance, culture for infrastructure, fighting corruption and impunity, equitable development.
Well, there are also, we have put, also, you know, under decentralization, planning and budgeting is not only for the rural areas, for the districts. It's a privy for the district councils. And therefore, when you have been given that opportunity or that as your mandate to plan and budget for all these services, first and foremost, you must ask yourself, for you as a district, how much do you contribute to the economy of this district? All this, when you work hard and get money, then you'll also get purchasing power. And also when you get purchasing power, what to sell, what to eat, and then now then you can be taxed, and then now the revenue comes in. And this is where we pick what we are supposed to maintain, the infrastructure we are talking about. I'll talk about the 1 billion shillings which are meant to maintain the road network.
Roads.
Jethro, last week I think I drove from Kumi and ended up in Arua. The road network is very good. I'm not only talking about the tarmac, the roads which are not tarmac like from Pakwach, maybe to Madiokolo or
first-class Maram.
That is a first-class Maram. And really, you can run. But also, what you need to put into perspective is that service the only service government is supposed to offer? How much is in the treasury? Because, you know, you cut your cloth according to the size. You cut your cloth according to the size. But really, there is equitable distribution. Wherever you touch, you find there is something that has gone there. Now you can drive right from Namalu and come up to Namalu, Muyembe, until you reach Lira if you're going to Lira. And you can drive from Lira and you go maybe and reach Puranga when you're going maybe to West Nile. And the road is continuing to be worked on. When you see the road network that is being opened up, there is also what we call the management plan, which has been put in place so that we are able to maintain, we are able to manage even what we have put up. Thank you, Jason.
Major, I want to get your last remarks before I get to the PS to close. Your practical government advice to citizens that they have to put in place, for example, to voter verification, to engage in that peaceful participation to protect the democratic gains. As we wrap up, Major.
Thank you, Jethro. Dear viewers and to all Ugandans, there is, I think, Electoral Commission has done and continue to do their part until we conclude the electoral cycle. And as we move, Electoral Commission has been guiding. As we move, also security from the security perspective has been guiding. As of now, you have been guided to go and pick your national IDs from NIRA. Number two, you'll also be going to pick your slips, which will direct you where you are going to vote from, which polling center you are going to vote from. You have also been guided that on 15th January, by Electoral Commission guidance, come and vote, and after voting, go home. Because I mean, that is not the only program you have, by the way. Why do you hang around when you must? You know, the future belongs to the organized. You must look more organized. You must also you must bring food at your table anyway. But where you are going to hang around, is there food? What work are you doing there? I thought my work of going there is to cast my vote. Then I should be able to go and either graze my rastaga furla, or I graze my cow, or I graze my goat. And that is what we are talking about.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Major Martha Asimwe. PS, the electoral process, January 15th, we have to vote for the MPs, but also the big seat, the president. But from where you sit, beyond the elections, how is the manifesto providing the roadmap for consolidating democracy, accelerating economic transformation, and safeguarding Uganda's future?
Of course, the manifesto, actually I wouldn't call it even the manifesto. The manifesto is based on the ideology.
Okay.
And the ideology of the current government is saying that let's have patriotism. Let our people be very patriotic. This is because this has been lacking with Ugandans for some time, being patriotic. Let us look at the Pan-Africanism and let us consolidate the democracy. Consolidating the democracy is not a one-day thing. It's a process. It's a process which you must do every now and then until where you reach where you want, like the Americans have reached, or the Britons. So, and then social transformation. That's very important. Social transformation. How do you look at the economy? How can we transform our economy from a backward one to the one which is self-sustaining? That is the most important thing which you must look at, and that's what the manifesto looks at. It looks at those 4 principles, that those one must be protected and must be sustained by all means in this coming term of NRM. But just I want to use also this chance,
yes,
to urge Ugandans to say that really President Museveni having been here for 40 years, it's not by accident. It's not by accident. The people were here for 8 years, others for 67 days, others for 9 months, others for 6 months. But him having been around for 40 years, that means that he has a correct line for this country. Therefore, if he has offered himself to stand and again take lead, take steering of this nation, should give him that chance again to move forward. Because so far, I would say just so that so far, and our viewers, so far, so good. I was really bothered by that person who said that there is no peace in this country. I don't know where he's living on Mars. When he knows that even Karamoja, which was the first place now, what is there now is no longer Katorasori. It's just people who go there and steal animals, like any other place where they steal animals. But Katorasori, the other organized one with guns and gangs of warriors, that one has stopped. So now how can someone say that there is no peace in this country? And rule of law for that matter.
So the gains must be protected.
Too much. And I want to urge all Ugandans on 15th to wake up very early in the morning to go and vote. Everybody who is eligible for voting, let us not sleep. Just go there and waste only 45 minutes or 1 hour, and then you come back.
Okay, thank you so much, PS. Major, you're raising your hand, but maybe 1 minute, please.
1 minute.
Because the big man
maybe Jethro.
Yes.
My boss will elaborate. Give 1 minute to my boss to elaborate. Our National Resistance Movement government has a tenfold.
ATMs.
program, ATMs. We are talking about coffee.
Agribusiness.
And we are talking about adding value.
Okay.
We are no longer going to accept selling raw materials. We are not going also to accept also being exploited with our raw materials. We want to add value. We are talking about industrialization. We are talking about tourism. We are talking about science,
technology,
and innovation.
Okay.
So all this, the 10, all are building into that protecting and moving forward.
And just before we end,
yes, in a minute,
there is these transfer payments. This country, if it was not peaceful, there wouldn't be transfer payments. Transfer payments of the late is one of the most lucrative income for our country. People who are working in the Middle East and elsewhere, they are remitting almost $1.2 million to this country. That's big money. And why should they bring it to Uganda if there was no peace? So that's why I want to emphasize that Uganda is a very safe place. Ugandans have left this country, they have gone abroad, and they are investing back their money. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, PS, Permanent Secretary from the Office of the President, Haji Yunus Kakande, for really sparing time. It was very important for you to be here. Thank you so much, Major Martha Simwe, in charge of RDC Secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, our topic was protecting the gains. The officers have clearly told you why the gains have to be protected. They did talk about mindset change. How do we get to this? That is between you and me, but it is very important. Now, we've come to the end of the show. We've been live on all our radio stations, live on YouTube, live on X. Thank you so much for those who have sent in their questions and comments. We didn't have enough time to read all of them. But also to tell you that AFCON, we did start AFCON yesterday. Uganda will be playing tomorrow, yes, but after the show we do have a match at 11 p.m. which we are going to show you live on UBC, live on Star TV, and live on our different radio programs, radio stations. Very important to follow. So the front bench might be affected somehow, somewhere ahead of time because of AFCON. It is very important. Ugandans, you want this. You've always requested for it. We have brought it live in the comfort of your sitting room on your phone. AFCON 2027, we have it live. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Jethro Kasaiji. It's a good night.
Oh, Uganda.